Hello fellow Star Wars fans, it's that time of the year again and it is time for This Is Madness Character Tournament on StarWars.com. So what is this? It's basically kind of like the NCAA Sweet 16 tournament. So what we have is characters from both the movies and TV series like Rebels pitted against each other until we have one winner. But also, Wikipedia is participating once again this year to do Predict the Madness, where you could actually pick your own bracket basically, and even if you get a chance to win, so some really cool prizes by Hasbro and some other things. So I'm gonna tell you guys who I picked with my own bracket. We'll see if I get very far. The actual tournament is starting on StarWars.com on March 14th. So you have some time to predict the madness by going to Wikipedia and filling out your bracket there. I'll also be returning when they have the verdict to see if I actually won and what my thoughts were on the tournament as a whole. Just for some reference, this tournament has been going on for the fourth year. 2013 we had Master Yoda winning. 2014 we had Obi-Wan Kenobi winning. And this past year we had the Dark Lord himself, Lord Vader, winning. So without further ado, I'm going to jump into who I picked for my bracket. So for light side A, we had our first round, which was Obi-Wan Kenobi versus Padme Amidala. I mean, for me, this is a no-brainer. I mean, we see Obi-Wan Kenobi every year consistently getting in the top four, I think, most of the time. So that's an easy one for me. Next, we have R2-D2 versus Sabine Wren. While, you know, the Rebels is picking up steam, I mean, R2-D2 is just so legendary that there's no way there's going to be any competition. R2 is going to win and go on to the round 2. Next up, we have Luke Skywalker versus Hera Syndulla. Of course, Hera Syndulla is a great character on Rebels, but again, Luke Skywalker, I mean, come on, he is the Jedi himself. He's moving on to round 2. And finally, for the light side A, we have the last round 1, which is Han Solo versus Chewbacca. Oh, why did they do this to us in round 1? This is a tough pick, but after Force Awakens, I think everybody's going to be hot on the heels of Han Solo, and everybody's still talking about him. So we're definitely going to be seeing Han Solo move on to round 2. So, in round 2, on light side A, we have Obi-Wan Kenobi versus R2-D2. Now, who would win this one? I think this is going to be actually kind of close, but like I said, Obi-Wan I think is going to move on. So, for the round 2, we have Luke Skywalker versus Han Solo, the two old buddies. This is another tough one. This is a tough year. There's some really, really good characters pitted against each other, and I think, again, Han Solo, he's got the fans behind him right now, and he's gonna win. And then we have Obi-Wan Kenobi versus Han Solo, and I think it's gonna be Han Solo. So that's what I think of my light side A. Now moving on to light side B. Round 1, we have Yoda versus Finn. This is a tough one because Finn's a newcomer into this entire tournament. Yoda, he's been a winner before. I think we're gonna see an upset in round 1 with Yoda. With Finn, you know, moving on to round 2. I think Finn, he's such a great character. He's a new character. Everybody's loving these Force Awakens characters with all the popularity of the movie. I think Finn's gonna overtake Yoda for an upset. And we have another great matchup in round 1 with Ahsoka Tano versus BB-8. This is really difficult because BB-8, I don't think there's anybody I've met that doesn't like the droid. He just made a great impact in The Force Awakens, pretty much, you know, putting C-3PO and R2-D2 on the back seat for this entire movie. But if you guys haven't been watching Rebels, there's going to be some really crazy stuff happening with Ahsoka. So I think on the popularity of what her character's been going through in Season 2 of Rebels, I think we're going to see Ahsoka pull through with the win and move on to round number 2. And now we have round 1, also Rey versus Ezra Bridger. Again, Ezra Bridger's getting pretty popular, but I mean, come on, Rey is going a long way in this tournament. Everybody loves the character Rey. She's got such a mystery behind her, is so powerful in the Force. We're going to see Rey move on to round 2. And finally, for round 1, we have Leia Organa versus Poe Dameron. I'm thinking that Poe Dameron's moving on to round 2, guys. Leia Organa, yeah, she's been in the tournament every year, obviously. She's one of the big 3, but I think, like we've seen with Yoda, some of these Force Awakens characters are really becoming popular with the fans, and right on the heels of Force Awakens, Poe Dameron is going to move through and move on to round 2. So that brings us with Finn versus Ahsoka Tano in round 2. I'm going to have to go with Finn. Again, Force Awakens, it's just everybody's still talking about it. Finn is an awesome character. He's probably my favorite character from Force Awakens, so I gotta give it to Finn on that one. And finally, Rey versus Poe Dameron, 2 out of the 3 of the new big 3, and I love Poe Dameron as a character, but Rey, come on, I can see her going all the way. So it's gonna be Rey moving on to round 3, and she'll be versing her friend Finn. This is crazy. I mean, they're such great pals, but I could see Rey overtaking Finn. It seems there's a lot more Rey fans out there, so I'm going to see light side B Victor is going to be Rey, and she'll be moving on to the Fate of the 4. Now, switching things up a bit, we're going to go to the dark side A. So round 1, we have Darth Vader versus the 5th brother. No competition at all. I don't think people really even know who 5th brother is at this point, so Darth Vader is going to be moving on to round 2. Continuing on to round 1, we have 7th Sister versus Jabba the Hutt. Again, same kind of circumstance as Vader versus 5th brother. I don't think many people know who 7th Sister is at this point, so we're going to have Jabba the Hutt overtake her and move on to round 2. Next up, we have Palpatine versus Asajj Ventress. Asajj Ventress, as you know, is a veteran of the Clone Wars, and I just don't think she has enough traction at this point with the mainstream of Star Wars fans to overtake the Emperor himself, Palpatine, who will be moving on to round number 2. And the last competition of round 1 is going to be Darth Maul versus Tarkin. So I don't think there's going to be much of a competition. Again, Maul looks like he's returning in Rebels, so I think riding on that popularity of the show, we're going to see Maul go pretty far, and he's moving on to round 2 of Dark Side A. Next up, we have round 2, which will pit Darth Vader against Jabba the Hutt. I think this was what happened last year, and we've seen a clean victory by Darth Vader. So again, Darth Vader's overtaking the Hutt himself, Jabba the Hutt. And for round number 2 in Dark Side A, we have Palpatine versus Darth Maul. This is a tough one, and I think Darth Maul is gonna come out on top. I think Palpatine. He's very prestigious in the Sith, but I think in this circumstance, we're gonna see the apprentice overtake the master, and that'll pit us with Darth Vader versus Darth Maul. This might be something we see in Rebels. Who knows? But as far as the tournament's concerned, it's going to be a very close one with, like I said, the popularity of Rebels, but Vader again will overtake Maul and he'll move on to Fate of the 4. And finally, for Dark Side B, we have round 1, newcomer Kylo Ren versus Jango Fett, who has been a veteran in this tournament. And unfortunately, as much as I love Jango Fett, the popularity behind Kylo Ren is gonna overtake Jango Fett, and he'll be moving on into round number 2. Continuing on with round number 1, we have Count Dooku versus Captain Phasma. As much as people were lukewarm about Captain Phasma, just the sheer fact that she wears some really cool armor, I think she's gonna overtake Count Dooku himself and move on to round number 1. Next up, we have the infamous Boba Fett versus another newcomer, but cruel, General Hux. Again, General Hux is an awesome character, but I think Boba Fett is just so much ingrained into fandom at this point. Anybody ever going up against him is pretty much going to lose, so Boba Fett's moving on to round number 1. And finally, with our last round number 1 in the tournament, we're going to have General Grievous versus Agent Kallus. Hey, I'm thinking Agent Kallus is going to move on to round 1. General Grievous is a pretty interesting character, but I think Agent Callus, especially after that one Rebels episode, he is definitely turning out to be a very interesting character, so he'll be moving on to round 1. And that brings us to round number 2 of Dark Side B. I have Kylo Ren versus Captain Phasma. You know, so two leaders in the First Order are going against each other. Again, Kylo Ren is just he's gonna get very far in this tournament. I'll tell you that right now, and he'll be moving past Captain Phasma into round number 3. And another round number 2, we have Boba Fett versus Agent Callus. No competition, Boba Fett all the way, which will lead us from a newcomer Kylo Ren versus veteran Boba Fett, who's been part of many Final Fours, and I think he's going to get upset. I think Kylo Ren is moving on to Fate of 4. So that brings us to my Fate of the 4. I have the light side of Han Solo versus Rey, and this is a very tough one, but I think Mr. Solo will move on to the final tournament championship, and I think Darth Vader versus Kylo Ren, I think we're gonna have Kylo Ren destroy his grandfather, move on versus Han Solo. This is gonna be an epic championship here. I mean, this is father versus son, just like in the movie. But unlike the movie, I think Han Solo is gonna take this entire tournament and move on, becoming champion of 2016. So, that's what I thought about the tournament. That's my predictions. What do you guys predict? Let me know in the comment section below of what you might think. And like I said, I'll be back, I think they said April 4th, when they announce who is winning. And I will go over everything about if I was really wrong or if I was really right. So make sure you like this video, guys. Hit that thumbs up. Please subscribe to my channel where you'll find other videos such as a weekly Star Wars show I do over here called This Week in Star Wars Canon. Make sure you follow me on Twitter at StarRaptor and like my Facebook profile at StarRaptor. Thanks for watching, guys, and may the Force be with you.